Is Donald Trump a globalist? I thought he was going to defeat the globalists, but have a listen carefully to this from Donald Trump.
Are in a position to have an incredible chance. I don't even call it a chance. I think
He's talking about Gaza, by the way, the board of peace.
It's going to happen. To end decades of suffering, stop generations of hatred and bloodshed, and forge a beautiful, everlasting, and glorious peace for that region and for the whole region of the world, because I'm calling the world a region.
I'm calling the world a region. Is that a phrase you ever thought you'd hear an anti-globalist like Donald Trump utter? I'm calling the world a region. We're all one world, one country, one new world.
The world is a region. We're going to have peace in the world. And boy, would that be a great legacy for all of us. Everybody in this room is a star, or you wouldn't be here. There's a reason that you're here, and you're all stars. You're the biggest people, the most important people in the world, most powerful people in the world.
Donald Trump talking about peace. He missed out on the Nobel Peace Prize, and then the woman that won it offered it to him. You couldn't make it up. So what's going on at the World Economic Forum? Let's hear from Vladimir Zelensky, because I like doing an impression of him.
Let's look at the Western Hemisphere. President Trump led an operation in Venezuela, and Maduro was arrested, and there were different opinions about it, but the fact remains Maduro is on trial in New York. Sorry, but Putin is not on trial. And this is the fourth year of the biggest war in Europe since World War II. And the man who started it is not only free, he is still fighting for his frozen money in Europe.
Zelensky can't bear the injustice of seeing what Donald Trump did in Venezuela and hoping that he could do the same in Russia. But Vladimir Putin is not the same as Maduro. Different ballgame. What about the richest man in the world? What kind of influence is he having at the World Economic Forum? Yeah, very, very funny. Very funny. Ha ha.
And actually, my prediction is in the benign scenario of the future that we will actually make so many robots and AI that they will actually saturate all human needs.
He must sit around all day and dream about what it's going to be like when robots take over the world and how he can have some kind of influence on that.
You won't be able to even think of something to ask the robot for at a certain point. There will be such an abundance of goods and services.
Look at his hands. Look at his hands. Do you ever sit with your hands like that? Please don't screenshot this and show me making this sign. Do you naturally sit with your hands making that symbol?
My prediction is there'll be more robots than people. So,
but how do you then have human purpose in that scenario?
Yeah, I mean, nothing's perfect, But
who needs people?
I mean, it is a necessary. You can't have both. You can't have work that has to be done and amazing abundance for all. Because if it's work that has to be done, then you and only some people can do it, then you can't have abundance.
Then it's narrow.
It's narrow, yeah. Exactly. So, but if you have billions of humanoid robots, and I think there will be, I think
billions of humanoid robots. Does that mean robots that look like humans, or does that mean humans that are partly robot?
I think everyone on Earth is going to have one and going to want one, because who wouldn't want a robot to, assuming it's very safe, watch over your kids, take care of your pet. If you have elderly parents, a lot of friends of mine have said they have elderly parents. It's very difficult to take care of them.
Expensive.
Yeah, it's expensive, and there just aren't enough people to take care of there aren't enough young people to take care of the old people.
Right.
So if they
There aren't enough young people to take care of the old people. Well, you could have more children, no? More people. Why don't we let people look after people? Or we're going to go for robots, like Rocky IV. Happy birthday, Polly.
if you had a robot that could take care of and protect an elderly parent, I think that would be great. That would be an amazing thing to have. I think we will have those things. So, I mean, overall, I'm very optimistic about the future. I think we're headed for a future of amazing abundance, which is very cool. And definitely, we are in the most interesting time in history. I think there's a more interesting time in history. So.
When you've got millions of pounds, or billions of pounds, is all you think about the future. You don't have to think about living in the moment, what you're going to eat from day to day. A different clip of Trump again at the World Economic Forum. Let's see what he's saying this time.
The United States cares greatly about the people of Europe. We really do. I mean, look, I am derived from Europe, Scotland and Germany.
Scotland.
100% Scotland, my mother. 100% German, my father.
I like how he goes into percent, as if he's going to talk about himself. And he's like, 100% Scotland, my mother. 100% German, my father. I'm 200% European.
And we believe deeply in the bonds we share with Europe as a civilization. I want to see it do great. That's why issues like energy, trade, immigration, and economic growth must be central concerns to anyone who wants to see a strong and united West. Because Europe and those countries have to do their thing. They have to get out of the culture that they've created over the last 10 years. It's horrible what they're doing to themselves. They're destroying themselves. It's beautiful, beautiful places. We want strong allies, not seriously weakened ones. We want Europe to be strong.
So, a minute ago he was talking about the world being, the world is a region. And now he's talking about wanting a strong Europe and touching upon what they've done to themselves. Or what have they done to themselves? What does he mean by that? Shaolin Mong is saying he's literally invading, lol. Well, he's threatened to invade Greenland, which is owned by Denmark, so part of Europe in that sense. But geographically, where is Greenland? What continent are you on up there? It's actually a lot closer to North America than you think. And the people that live there, the 60,000 of them or so, are native people. Is Eskimo the right term? I don't know the politically correct term for the native inhabitants of the Arctic area, but they're not white Europeans. They are native Inuit people. I think Inuit might be the more appropriate term. Another clip for you. We're at the Board of Peace, where Trump talked about the world being a region.
So we did a master plan. We brought in, I think, Akir Gabay, who's one of the most successful real estate developers and brilliant people I know. He's volunteered.
This is the plan for what's going to happen to Gaza. Palestinian territory, 80% of the people live there, are already refugees that were expelled in 1948 and now looking to be expelled again. What is the future of Gaza?
To do this, not for profit, really because of his heart, he wants to do this. And we've developed ways to redevelop Gaza. Gaza, as President Trump's been saying, has amazing potential, and this is for the people of Gaza. We've developed it into zones. In the beginning, we were toying with the idea of saying, let's build a free zone, and then we have a Hamas zone. And then we said, you know what, let's just plan for catastrophic success. Hamas signed a deal to demilitarize. That is what we are going to enforce. People ask us what our plan B is. We do not have a plan B. We have a plan. We signed an agreement. We are all committed to making that agreement work. There's a master plan. We'll be doing it in phasing. In the Middle East, they build cities like this in 2-3 million people. They build this in 3 years. And so stuff like this is very doable if we make it happen.
Yeah, remember how they prepared for the World Cup so quickly in Qatar? There was nothing unjust about that, was there?
Start with, this will show a lot of workforce housing. We think this could be done in 2-3 years. We've already started removing the rubble and doing some of the demolition. And then New Gaza. It could be a hope, it could be a destination, have a lot of industry, and really be a place that the people there can thrive, have great employment. Once this starts going, we think there should be 100% full employment and opportunity for everybody there. And we have a lot of data on what can be.
Everybody there? Who's going to be there? Who's going to be there? I remember Trump was asked that question, and he said, there'll be lots of world people there in Gaza, as if people from every corner of the world will, and some Palestinians, he said, some people that are actually originally from there. But it's interesting how people on the right in America want America to retain some kind of its Americanness, what they consider the European people that founded the country. People on the right in Europe want their countries to remain homogenous, is that the word? But Gaza, you can steam in, tear it up, and there'll be lots of world people living there.
But we think that this really gives the Gazan people an opportunity to live their aspirations. But it all starts with security, and it all starts with governance. Final note I'll just say on the Board of Peace, which is that all the lessons we're doing is we're basically studying the best practices from all over the world, and we're watching who does education the best, who does healthcare delivery the best. All of these things it's not secret IP. All this is IP that the Board of Peace is going to make public, and we want to encourage all the countries to be able to follow these best practices. A lot of the things that President Trump is doing in America, if they're working, we should all be copying them. If we find what's working in other countries, we should be copying them too. And so what the Board of Peace will have the ability to do if we're successful with Gaza is really show how do you do peace implementation, which is something that when we got this deal done, we didn't really find too much expertise or know-how on how to do it. So as we're creating this system, hopefully it's something that we can just document these learnings and make them available to all else who want to use them in the future. So demilitarization, this is something we're starting now that we have a new government in Gaza. This government will be working with Hamas on the demilitarization to really take the principles that were agreed to in the document to the next phase, and hopefully that will be successful. Without that, we can't rebuild. So if Hamas does not demilitarize, that will be what holds back Gaza and the people of Gaza from achieving their aspiration, and that's very important. So the next 100 days, we're going to continue to just be heads down and focused on making sure this is implemented.
If you're a Fifth Amendment type person who says that everyone in America should have the right to bear arms because, God forbid, someone comes and attacks you in your house, you should have the right of self-defense. How do you talk about demilitarization of another country? Why should an individual have the right to defend themselves, but not another country? Are you a country if you don't have a military? After the Second World War, Japan weren't allowed to have a military, and they did all right, actually, and so did Germany. So maybe having a military is not everything.
We continue to be focused on humanitarian aid, humanitarian shelter, but then creating the conditions to move forward. So thank you. Final point I'll just make is this is really only possible because of the work of so many people and President Trump's great leadership. But a lot of you have been asking, how can we help? So the countries have all been incredibly generous. We'll be doing the first conference where we'll announce a lot of the contributions that will be made in a couple weeks in Washington. From the private sector, there'll be amazing investment opportunities. I know it's a little risky to be investing in a place like this, but we need you to come, take faith, invest in the people, try to be a part of it. And then finally, I'll just talk to people on the media and on the social media, which is this deal only happened because we worked with Israel, we worked with Turkey, we worked with Qatar, we worked with Saudi, we worked with Egypt. I mean, everyone worked together. We worked with UAE. We all worked together to make this happen. I see a lot of people trying to escalate, criticizing Israel or Israelis criticizing Turkey or Qatar. Just calm down for 30 days. I think that the war's over. Let's do our best to try working together. Our goal here is peace between Israel and the Palestinian people. Everyone wants to live peacefully. Everyone wants to live with dignity. Let's put our efforts towards promoting those who are doing the work to build this up, like Ali and his committee. Let's focus on the positive stories, and let's just calm down, turn a new chapter. And if we believe that peace is possible, then peace really can be possible. So we're going to continue to work every day. We need all of your help to do it. And again, I just really want to thank President Trump for his leadership in doing this. This would not have been possible without your commitment to this. Everyone thought it was impossible to end this war. You never gave up. You never stopped. Every time there was a setback, you told us to try harder. You gave us different ideas. And we've made several impossible things happen just in Gaza to date, and there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to make even more impossible things happen. So really thank you for your amazing leadership.
Couldn't have done it without you, Trump. I'm sure he genuinely believes that he should have had the Nobel Peace Prize. Let's hear from more voices from the World Economic Forum.
Okay. We are in Davos at the World Economic Forum.
In Davos.
And the Trump administration and myself, we are here to make a very clear point. Globalization has failed the West and the United States of America.
So he's against globalism, even though Trump spoke a little bit like a globalist recently, calling the world a region. This guy is going to tear that down.
It's a failed policy. It is what the WEF has stood for, which is export, offshore, far shore, find the cheapest labor in the world, and the world is a better place for it. The fact is, it has left America behind. It has left the American workers behind. And what we are here to say is that America First is a different model, one that we encourage other countries to consider, which is that our workers come first. We can have policies that impact our workers. Sovereignty is your borders. You're entitled to have borders. You shouldn't offshore your medicine. You shouldn't offshore your semiconductors. You shouldn't offshore your entire industrial base and have it be hollowed out beneath you. You should not be dependent for that which is fundamental to your sovereignty on any other nation. And if you're going to be dependent on someone, it darn well better be your best allies. Okay? And so that is a different way of thinking. It is completely different than the WEF. I viewed the WEF as not a flagpole in the middle, but in fact, they are the flag. Whichever way the wind blew, so it blew. You should have solar, you should have wind. Why are you going to do solar and wind? Why would Europe agree to be net zero in 2030 when they don't make a battery? They don't make a battery. So if they go 2030, they are deciding to be subservient to China, who makes the batteries.
He doesn't sound like he's a fan of the World Economic Forum. What is net zero? What does that actually mean? Zero what? Zero carbon emissions? Or have you've offset your emissions so that you are not putting out more than you're consuming? Let's switch now to, well, back to Gaza and Palestine, with the bigger picture being what's unfolding in Iran.
These teenagers may be Israel's future operatives in an espionage battle against Iran. They learn about Iranian history and culture and sing in the Persian language.
I'm Reuters' Rinat Harash at Ben Gurion High School in the Israeli city of Petah Tikva. These high schoolers behind me may be Israel's future operatives in an escalating shadow war with Iran. They are enrolled in a unique university-level program titled Iran, Security and Intelligence. They're currently studying for their final exams, focusing on Farsi grammar, translations, and contemporary Iranian affairs. When drafted for their mandatory military service at age 18, they will be natural candidates for key positions in Israel's intelligence services. Because of their candidacy, the program managers requested we do not publish their full identities.
Israel is casting more widely for Farsi speakers for its intelligence services. That would square with Israel's publication last month of what it said was a trove of secret Iranian nuclear documents that required marathon translation and analysis after their capture. And this school is happy to provide the candidates.
Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. There's a well-known section of the IDF called the Mustatrivim, the ones who pose as Arabs, where soldiers study the Arabic language, dress in Arabic or Palestinian clothing in order to infiltrate Palestinian society and carry out covert operations. I can remember when I was in the West Bank a few years back, a hospital in Hebron was infiltrated and people were arrested by IDF soldiers dressed as, posing as Palestinian doctors. So there's a long history of posing as Arabs, or understanding Arabic and blending in with the Arab culture. Many Israelis come from an Arabic background anyway, Jewish Arabic background, be it from the communities of Sephardic Jews in Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, or the Mizrahim in Iraq. So it's not an alien language or culture to these soldiers, but there's also people studying Farsi. Know your enemy. I wonder, do the British Army go to the same extent to study and understand the language of the countries that are deemed to be a threat? Back in the World Economic Forum, but on the same topic.
Your Eminence, especially in Germany, you are facing a rise of anti-Semitism, but we are facing this all over the world. So I would like to hear what is your perspective on this.
The 7th of October has created turbulence in the whole world, a tremendous rise of anti-Semitism, organized, state-sponsored in many instances, in universities, on the streets, and a rise of 500%, maybe some instances to 1,000% of anti-Semitic acts. And there has also been a reaction of Europe. I think the rise of the extreme right in many European countries is a response to the insecurity felt by the old Europeans, so-called old Europeans, regarding the new immigrants who came from the Middle East. So I think that fighting Islamophobia and anti-Semitism is an interest of both religions and both communities, and when we do it together, it's going to be much more useful. We have created, under also the Saudi umbrella, more than 10 years ago, the Muslim Jewish Leadership Council, and which was successful. And we believe that we have to go this way if we want to make sure that every European can live in peace and walk in peace in the streets.
Okay, so finding some common ground between Jewish and Muslim people, and that could be a good thing, whether you agree or not. He used the phrase "the new Europeans." This is a front page from National Geographic, suggesting that people fleeing wars in the Middle East, some of them might be from Gaza, are the new Europeans, and that these refugees are fleeing to go and make a new life forever. The Palestinian refugees that live in Gaza, the West Bank and the surrounding areas have always lived with that hope, with that dream of returning home to the land that they fled against their will. But if you're referring to someone as a new European, it would suggest that you're hoping they're making their home in Europe permanently, that this is forever now. There's no going back.
And you know what mind boggles me? All those who've attacked us.
This is the Prime Minister, if I'm correct, Herzog.
For defending ourselves. Where are they? Where's Susan Sarandon? Where's Cynthia Nixon? Where are all of these people? Why don't we see them demonstrating in front of the Iranian embassies or demonstrating in the streets of cities all over the world and crying out loud and saying, we support the Iranian people? And that shows the great hypocrisy that surrounded our fight for defending ourselves and actually changing the regional geostrategic trajectory.
Okay, it's a point that's often made by the Israeli side. Where is your voice for the Iranian people? I think if you are a Palestine supporter, the sight of the Israeli flag at a lot of the demonstrations may have put you off.
So essentially what you're saying is that in these both, you're together with both Muslims.
Yes.
Here's another interview where it's mentioned the common ground between the Jews and Muslims in Europe.
Yes.
And people of other denominations.
And we see ourselves together, fighting together with our Muslim brothers who want a free Europe, who want a peaceful Europe, who want to integrate like our forefathers integrated in Western Europe 120 years ago. And
so what about some integration between Jewish people and Muslim people in the Middle East, not just in Europe?
They are our natural allies.
Isn't that what is really happening today, both in Europe and perhaps in other parts of the world, this very intense clash between ostensibly secular and ostensibly religious worldviews?
Yes, I would not call what is happening now the Dark Ages. There are also some people say that it is a repeat of the 1930s in Europe. It's not true, because Europe is in a different place. The Jewish people are in a totally different place. Today there's the state of Israel. It used to be that when Jews wanted to leave, wanted to flee Europe, they had nowhere to go. Most countries were closed to them.
But many Jews are leaving Europe. Many Jews are leaving France, for example, for Great Britain, as far as I know.
Right. So, but something I said yesterday on Israeli radio, I'm going to repeat this now. When I speak to people from Paris, for example, who decided to emigrate, whether to Israel or to London or to Montreal, and ask them, why are you emigrating? And the answer I'm getting is, I don't see a future for our children here. When people left in the 1930s Europe, they didn't emigrate because they didn't see a future for their children. They did not see a future for themselves. So it is different. Now, coming back to your question of the clash between the secular post-Christian Europe and the new immigration wave, which is essentially religious, yes, this is exactly what is happening. There is a clash of civilizations. And we, the Jews, we are in the middle of this clash of civilizations. On one side is what happened in Paris and Brussels, and that children who walk with the kippah in the streets in Paris are being attacked. On the other side, what we have the counter-reaction of old Europe. We have the laws against limiting religious freedom in Switzerland, against the minarets, in France, against the burqa, the attempted law in Germany against circumcision, the attempted law in Holland and in Poland against halal or kosher meat. So this is the reaction of old Europe against this new wave of religious expression.
So essentially what you're saying is that in these both, you're together with both Muslims
yes.
and people of other denominations.
And we see ourselves together, fighting together with our Muslim brothers who want a free Europe, who want a peaceful Europe, who want to integrate like our forefathers integrated in Western Europe 120 years ago, and they are our natural allies.
Okay, Muslim and Jewish allies, possibly. Let's hear from a Christian, and I believe he is a Zionist Christian.
Well, there was a letter that was put out by the more liturgical churches, the non-evangelicals, Catholic, Greek Orthodox, Russian Orthodox, a host. I think there's about 10 different denominations, and they said that they're the only ones who can speak for Christians in the Holy Land. I found that a little bit troubling because I'm not sure that anybody has the exclusivity to speak for all Christians in the world. And there was also a very, very targeted, kind of a pejorative hit at the term Christian Zionist. Bianca, I consider myself a Christian Zionist. All that means is that, yes, I'm a Christian. Everybody, I think, pretty well knows that. But to be a Zionist doesn't mean anything nefarious. It simply means that you believe that the Jewish people have a divine right and frankly, a geopolitical right to a homeland that they have lived in for almost 4,000 years. And to say you're a Zionist means, do the Jewish people have a right to live in this land? I think most people would look at this, if they're objective, and say, well, of course they do. They've had connection here. So to say a person is a Christian Zionist, it's a Christian who respects that Jewish people should be living in the Holy Land. That's all it means. To say that it's somehow some term that ought to be fearful or as Tucker Carlson said, it's indicative of a brain virus. There are tens of millions of evangelicals just in the United States who would be called Christian Zionists. Martin Luther King Jr., whose birthday we celebrated this week, was a Christian Zionist. So it should not be something that is divisive to Christians.
There you go.
It ought to be a term that every Christian should embrace.
There are more Christian Zionists than Jewish Zionists. And let's be fair, does he have a point? If by Zionism you mean the right to live and have a homeland, it's different from having a state, isn't it? And I always mentioned that Balfour Declaration that said a homeland that must not be at the expense of the people already living there. So maybe it's possible to be in favour of a homeland that's shared, because of course there's other people that also live there and have also lived there for thousands of years. Why should it be a state for one particular religion, ethnic group, whatever you want to call it? And this guy's from the Protestant churches in America, and he was mentioning the Catholic and the Orthodox. This phenomenon of Christian Zionism is very much a European and then by extension American thing. You don't really find it in the older churches, the Orthodox and the Catholic Church, the churches that the Christians in that part of the world are members of. It would be very much an alien concept to them. And the Christian Zionism that came within this evangelical Protestantism comes from, I think, a literal interpretation of the Bible that wants to somehow bring about the day of judgment and the return of Christ by fulfilling biblical prophecy, rather than allowing God's will to be done and letting it happen. In the chat, ML8 was saying he's talking about the mass migration of Muslim people to Europe. I think that's a comment about what Donald Trump said earlier about what's happened to Europe and what they're allowing to be done to themselves. Immigration into Europe. But Donald Trump, as he just said, is 100% and 100% of an immigrant background himself. His people came from Europe and went to another continent. The argument they'll make is that, well, we went to build the country and we didn't receive any handouts. Well, we already heard tonight that there's not enough children being born, there's not enough people, and Elon Musk wants robots to look after old people, instead of, if you don't have enough people in your country, in your society, then you need to open the door to immigration, and you need to give these people opportunities to contribute to a society and build a country like the Irish did apparently in London and New York, like Donald Trump's mum and dad did in America. I can understand why people are against immigration if it's perceived that it's having a negative effect on the society, but it doesn't have to be one or another. It could be good or it could be bad. Let's create a situation where it can be good, and let's also create a situation where people don't feel that they have to flee their own country because of war. Ray M is saying, the European Parliament has formally decided today to suspend the processing of the trade agreement with the US due to the Greenland issue. Yeah, it's a big issue, and Denmark are not happy about it. I wonder if it really could happen that Denmark could be invade, well, Greenland, which is, for now, part of Denmark. Here are the new Europeans, National Geographic, how waves of immigrants are reshaping a continent. There's no new, well, there are new Israelis every day, because, as we've heard from the gentleman earlier, anti-Semitism has increased, did he say 500% or 1,000%? I don't know, it was a great big number. So unfortunately, people were saying that their future didn't lie in France or in England, and they were migrating to the Middle East. And that's sad. I find it very sad when any community feels that their future doesn't lie in the place where they live. But of course, for the Israeli government, that's not sad, that's a good thing. They want that. So would they create a situation that would be conducive to that? Would they, as cruel as it sounds, make it worse for Jewish people so that they get the immigration? They need people. Their population is dwindling. They're up against what they call the demographic problem, whereby if you want to remain a democracy and a Jewish state, you need the majority of the people to be Jewish. And if the birth rate of the non-Jewish communities in your country exceeds the Jewish birth rate, then you've got a problem. Europe, some people would perceive it as having the same problem. I don't think it is a problem what religion or what ethnicity people are in your country, as long as everyone's getting on and pulling their weight and contributing to society. Mohammed Omar is saying, don't be sad, they have enough money to live lives you can't even dream of having in it. Well, I don't know who's got how much money, Omar. And we all want more money. Incidentally, you can leave a tip by clicking the dollar symbol in the chat, but you don't have to. This is free of charge and it's free speech. And there is a number if anyone wants to get in touch. Again, you don't have to, but you could text the number on the screen. You could call it, or you could send me a voice note. I'm happy to hear voice notes. In the UK, on WhatsApp, 07886 993 784. Just an experiment, another way for people to contribute to the live stream, because we like to be quite interactive. And Omar did a great chat last night. We were talking about the Minister of Health in Wales, and tonight we're talking about Davos, but we can talk about anything you want on Lessons for Life, and we'll do it again, God willing, tomorrow night. Thank you all for joining me. I really appreciate it. We've done many in a row, more to come, God willing. It's been Lessons for Life. We'll do it all again soon. We were here. We're gone. Layers.